The future of rural India is intertwined with its ability to integrate science and technology. This quote by Dr. R. S. Radhakrishnan, I heartily welcome one and all present for the seventh day of workshop on Swachhata Action Plan. In previous 6 days, we were having the eminent resource persons with us. They discuss about the different and the required aspects of cleanliness. With this workshop, we want to aware the civilization to some important issues like challenge of heart, health education in village, introduction of ODF and smart technology, and water sanitization and hygiene, waste management and challenges. How can HEIs contribute transforming rural India for inclusive and sustainable development? And today's topic of discussion will be Unnat Bharat Abhiyan 2.0, community engagement and social work progression. Yes, we are speedily achieving the modernization, but it should not be on the cost of desertion of nature. With the blessing of God and support, guidance, our management, this workshop reached to its successful binding. I request Reverend Father A.Rex Angelo, Principal St. Xavier's College, Jaipur, to motivate us with his inspiring words. Over to you, Father.
Good afternoon to all of you, Reverend Father Rector, Reverend Father Raymond, the Vice Principal, and Dr. Bola Chowdhury, the Coordinator of SAP Committee, and other esteemed members of staff, and my beloved students. I am very happy that on the valedictory day of this 7-day workshop on a Swachhata Action Plan, in collaboration with the Swachhata Bharat Mission Gramin, Department of Rural Development and Panchayat Raj, Government of Rajasthan, and the Department of Drinking Water and Sanitation, Ministry of Jal Shakti, Government of India, we have been able to organize this wonderful program, which proved a lot as a kind of helpful inputs for institution and the village rural background coming together for the sake of this great idea of Swachhata Bharat. Now, today's topic is community engagement. Without community engagement, no program can be successful. And I'm very happy that the organizers have taken this theme, Unnat Bharat Abhiyan 3.0, community engagement and social work progression. All the schemes are addressed to not just city people. A program like this are also addressed to people in the rural India. As I said yesterday, the words of Mahatma Gandhi, that India lives in the heart of the villages. Now, unless and until the local community is engaged in this transformative work, no governmental scheme can be successful. After coming over here to this village, Neuta, and I was very happy to know that the college has been in its outreach program getting involved in the rural life and activities of the people, thanks to our COVID Care Activity Center and the rural camp, the rural team, medical team, etc. Now, such idea also should reach the villages, because by and large, the towns and cities are kept clean by the municipalities and corporations, but rural areas of India continue to stay dirty and then unhygienic. So the local community, unless and until the local community comes forward, no program can be successful. Today's session should be a kind of enlightenment, and I am very happy that Dr. Ranjit Kaur, the resource person, has come forward to give us her insights on this important topic. A warm welcome to Dr. Ranjit, a veteran at the St. Xavier's College, and a warm and useful and inspiring session to each and every one of the participants. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you so much, Father. Please keep in mind that feedback form and the exit test link or workshop will be posted in chat box. Certificate will be awarded based on only these only. Make sure to fill these. It's my immense pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Dr. Ranjit Kaur ma'am. Dr. Ranjit Kaur ma'am is an assistant professor in Department of English, St. Xavier's College, Jaipur. Ma'am is NET/SLAT doctorate in English, triple postgraduate with Master in English, History, Education, B.Ed and PGDCA. Ma'am has done her research in peasant narratives from University of Rajasthan. Ma'am authored 2 books, Communication Techniques and Communicative English. Ma'am has more than 25 years of experience of administration and teaching English. Ma'am has recently posted many administrative posts in college like UBA Cell Coordinator, IQAC and the Steering Committee member, Alumni and Minority Committee Coordinator. We are glad to have you, ma'am, for today's session as a resource person. Now I invite Dr. Ranjit Kaur ma'am to take over the session.
Thank you, Sonali. Thank you so much, Father. Good afternoon, everyone. Reverend Father Arop Swami, Reverend Father Alex Angelo, Reverend Father Raymond, all faculty members, students and participants. It's my pleasure that I want to share with you a few nuances and importance of Unnat Bharat Abhiyan program of Government of India, as well as I want to brief you about Unnat Bharat Abhiyan cell of our college, so that you have an idea how you have to work along with the core committee from the student side as well as from all the faculty members, and how we have to work for Unnat Bharat Abhiyan 3.0, a third phase that has been launched from April 2021. So through my PPT and through some videos and through some important highlights, I want to explain you how important this particular activity, task that is assigned to higher education institutes, and that one is assigned to us as St. Xavier's College, Jaipur. We have to work together for this noble work or noble cause as a social commitment and social responsibility of ours as an institute, because we all are related to this institute. So, Sonali, can I share my PPT if you stop sharing this one? Sonali? Bula ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, you can hear.
Because, yes, no. Thank you so much. Is it visible to all?
Not right now, ma'am.
Okay, because I have shared that. It's not visible.
Yes, ma'am, now it is visible.
It's visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now full screen. It's on full screen now. I think because of the fluctuation of light.
Ma'am, it's not full screen. Please continue, Ranjit ma'am.
Please go ahead, madam. Ranjit ji.
There's some connectivity issue at ma'am's and she's joining again, Father.
Okay. And who is talking behind? Some disturbance.
Aditya, can you unmute yourself, Vita? Yes. Mute yourself. Thank you so much. I'm sharing my PPT once again. Just give me a minute's time. Now, Bulaman, can you allow me to share my PPT? Because it's again that.
Yes, ma'am, enabling.
Yes. Just.
Please share, ma'am, it's done.
Yes, yes. Again, some fluctuation is there in light. My screen is visible now to all?
Yes, ma'am, please continue.
Okay.
Yes, please continue.
Okay. So the topic of my presentation is, as you have seen, that Unnat Bharat Abhiyan 3.0, that is the third phase of this Unnat Bharat Abhiyan program. And particularly, I want to talk about that community engagement and social work progression. But before that, I want to discuss about a few aspects that what is the vision and the mission of this particular phase, third phase. Before starting anything, I want to ask you to just ponder upon this single line that is written by Mahatma Gandhi and that speaks volumes, and that is the main motive of this program, that 1 ounce of practice is worth 100 words. That at times we are planning, we are thinking, we are jotting down multiple thoughts, but if we are not practically applying those, and if we are not practically changing anything or altering anything, that it is not worthy. So instead of discussing more, we have to work and act upon the social commitments of us through this particular Unnat Bharat Abhiyan program. So what is the main focus of this program is this one is from the Ministry of Human Resource Development, and this one is moved from April 21, and they have given a 5-year span from April 21 to June 2026, this third phase. And this program aims at connecting institutions of higher education with local communities that are around us, that we have to think not only about us, but we have to think about others also that are our college is in the vicinity of the village areas, and we have to think about that what our nearby community is and how we can develop, and we can learn from them, and we can contribute from our side also as an higher education institute. And what is the main motive of this phase is to address the development changes through appropriate technologies, because they want that technological intervention. And UBA has created SCGs groups also, subject expert groups also, to talk about the technological interventions. Then what is the vision particularly of this 3.0, that this one is inspired by the vision of transformational change. Transformational change in rural development that is possesses by leveraging knowledge that is there with institutions, and to help the to build the architecture of an inclusive India. So inclusive growth is required. If we are growing, our college is growing and our students are growing, but the nearby areas are not growing along with us. Not this one is particularly about our college, but this one is about the whole India and whole world. If that inclusive growth is not there, how we can consider ourselves as part of an higher education institute? So as an intellectuals, as in scholars, as an intellectual, we have to work for the inclusive growth of the areas that are around us. So through that vision, through that idea, that they have a particular mission that they have given, and they have jotted down this mission, and we have to work for this particular mission, because we are the part of that UBA group now as PI's participating institute. So what is the mission? That mission is to enable that higher education institutes to work with the people of rural India in identifying development changes and evolving appropriate solutions. So first of all, we have to find out their problems, then what kind of changes are required, and then the appropriate solutions we are supposed to suggest so that we can accelerate the sustainable growth and we can develop them throughout that overall growth we can do. So that kind of mission they are on the Government of India under this scheme. And it also aims to create a virtuous cycle between society and an inclusive academic system. Because we are learning from the books multiple theoretical knowledge, now this is the time that we can employ this to practically. I will show you in my PPT multiple different videos also in different good model villages also later on. Just a few slides I want to give you an idea, and then I will practically how the people have involved and how higher education institutes have contributed. I will show you that also. So this is that the academic system, the higher education institutes, they have that knowledge and the rural community have that knowledge, but the gap is there. So through these programs, we have to bridge that gap. And how we can bridge that gap, whatever theoretical knowledge is there with us, with their understanding of their conditions, we have to suggest them the practical solutions. So it's a kind of a learning and sharing and giving kind of situation, that we are learning from them and they are learning from us, and in that way we are developing our India in an inclusive growth is supposed to be there. So whether the public sector is there, whether the private sector is there, we have to respond to the development of rural community. So there, whatever the gap is there in between, we have to bridge that gap through these programs or through these activities that are launched by Government of India. Now, what is the goal? So majorly two goals are there that they want to achieve. First of all, to re-emphasize the need for field work. Yes, theoretically, students are learning. I'm explaining you about from the perspective of our college. Yes, theoretically we are giving them appropriate or up to the mark knowledge, but how practically they have to go into and to learn from the practical exposure, the field work, the project work, and who all are the stakeholders for those interactions. We are supposed to find out those stakeholders also. And according to that, we have to design the societal objectives. Societal objectives as the basis of higher education. Because in NAC, also in UGC also, the social commitment of the institution is the prime importance nowadays. Why? Because that gap is there. And through all these programs, we have to fill that. And we have to re-emphasize that the field work, the practical knowledge is required, and we have an idea that who all are the stakeholders of this rural community. So to foster a new dialogue within the larger community on science, society, and the environment. So threefold development is required. And in doing that, we have to keep in mind the sense of dignity also and collective destiny, that we have to move to this particular growth, that goal-oriented task we have to do. So instead of keeping this on stake our dignity or their dignity, we have to mutually work together. So that is the goal of UBA 3.0. How we can do that? So major areas of interventions are required, and we have divided these interventions into two parts. One is on that human development interventions, and another is that material or economic development. So two-way developments are required, and with that two-way development portals, ways we can do holistic development of our villages. So regarding that first, that human development, how we can do that? Through health and hygiene. Okay, so we have to do, keep in mind whatever work we are planning to do in those villages. First is health and hygiene. Second is that education and culture. They have that cultural knowledge, but they are not up to the mark with us as with higher education institutes, education. Whatever the lack is there in between that. And I want to mention here that Father Arup is helping us out in this, and he's guiding us throughout. Father Principal is guiding us, Father Raymond is guiding us throughout for that. And with the guidance, under the guidance of Father Arup and Father Rex and Father Raymond, we have already started. Father has informed us that Father Arup that we have already started that education platform in 3 important centers are already working in Nefta village. So the first thing that after that survey, we have to find out the problems and the education. Yes, we know that we have to work on that. Then values and perception development. That yes, you are not lower to us, you are equal to us. We are learning from you and you are learning from us. So that sensitization is required from our side. Whenever we are visiting college, whoever students are connected with us, whenever we are visiting college, what we have to do? We have to understand and we have to keep our values intact so that they will not feel that we are treating them as lowers, we are treating them in a different manner. We have to come to that level to understand their problems and to give them, they will give you a compassion, they will give you a love and full cooperation. Whatever visits we have done as UBA the teachers that are there with us, we felt that yes, we have to, if we are giving them one hand, they are there with that open hands to work with us, to share their problems, and we can suggest them the ideas. Then the skill and entrepreneurship, for sure, that we have to develop, and we have to ask them that how they can change their. Yes. So next is that the material or economic development, how we can do that. So UBA has 6 major themes. In that, their major themes are that organic agriculture or farming, then waste management and conservation, renewable energy sources, artisans and rural industry, and the development of the harnessing of the local natural resources that are there. I will share with you a few videos, and you, after seeing those videos, you will be surprised at how the local resources are used in an innovative manner to work and to develop that particular area. Then basic amenities and IT support and digital literacy, when we have discussed in our heads of the department and all the UBA coordinators. So digital literacy is the one topic that everybody wants that we can work upon on that. Now to give a quick look on that major areas of intervention. So this way we can divide that human development and sustainable economic development, and e-support, basic amenities. So this is just a quick look that whatever I have shared with you in the previous slides. So what are the key principles of community engagement? Till now I have explained to you about the UBA 3.0, what are the vision, mission and goal. Now, what are the key principles of community engagement? As Father Principal has mentioned that, yes, community engagement is a prime important task that we have to do under this. Mutual learning and respect, and linkage with local institutions. Whatever the facilities, whatever the developments that are already there, and whatever the schemes that are already there, we have to guide them how they can work upon and how they can help and how they can develop through those schemes that are already there. So we have to find out, and we are supposed to be a kind of a link between those schemes, those fundings and those development plans that are already there at central and state government level. And we have to explain how they can use those and how they can, we can say that optimum utilization of those schemes are still required. So in that way, we can work upon. There are forms of community engagement, how we can do that. First of all, we have to link the learning and community services. I'm so happy that for this particular USL, when we have floated the form, multiple students from different streams, they have filled their form, and in their telephonical conversation also, and through their CVs, I can perceive that they're keen to work. So it's, as a teacher, as a faculties, it's our duty that we have to channelize the energy of our students for this community service. We have to link this learning and this service aspect that is there in their mind and their thought. Linking research with community knowledge. This is also that community engagement from our college side. Not only that we have to do the community service, but we can do the research also. We try to find out the projects that we can suggest to UBA, and they are ready to fund if our projects are good. If the projects are innovative, they are happy to fund, and they are happy to include that. So we have to suggest that. Then knowledge sharing and knowledge mobilization, device and courses, including practitioners as teachers and social innovations. So these are the ways that we can develop that community engagement. We can show that community engagement from our side. Next is these next two slides are the field-based practical activities that we can involve ourselves and we can do. Interaction with SLGs, that self-help groups, the women members. When we have visited college, we met few female groups, Anganwadi leaders, Anganwadi workers, and they are ready to help us out. They are ready to work with us, and they are ready to share their ideas. So that interaction is the first field-based practical activity that we can do, and we have to study their functions and challenges, and according to understand their challenges, we have to plan the activities and the projects that can help them to build their livelihood activities, livelihood generated activities. We have to plan. First, we have to build that interaction and bond. Then the Manrega's project sites are also there, and we have to visit there and interact with the beneficiaries and interviews. We can do that interview and interaction with them, how they are working and how they can help us, and whatever projects they are involved in. Then field visit to Swachh Bharat project sites also, because as from last 7 days, what we are discussing about, that is the Swachhata project, that one of Government of India, the Swachhata action plan. So we have to work aligned with that. Then interactive communities exercises, that is the local leaders, we have to find out that yes, this is the female, this is the men, that every people are looking them as their leaders, as a spokesperson. So panchayat functionaries we have to understand. Then grassroots officials and local institutions, we have to make connection with them. We have to understand the whole functioning in that political science department will help us out. That what is that whole structure of Panchayati Raj, how all that system from the lower unit, from the that connection is there. Then we have to visit the rural schools and midday meal centers. Then we have to understand that at what academic and infrastructure levels they are, and what are the gaps, and where we can fill those, and what are the resources and how we can fill those gaps. Then we have to participate in Gram Sabha meetings also and study community participation. Then these are other few practical suggestions that we can do that visit local Anganwadi centers, because their duty is to be in connection with each and every household. So as a first duty of UBA cell, what we have to do, we have to, whatever villages are assigned to us, we will divide those villages into different departments. That one village is given duty to one department, and all the faculties of that department, with the guidance of head of the department and all the student body that is there. First of all, what we have to do, we have to do the household survey, the baseline survey. I will share with you the form also, that how we have to collect and what is the app that is already there. The Anganwadi centers, because they have an idea of each and every household. Then we have to visit local NGOs. Instead of looking for other NGOs, we have to look in for the NGOs that are there locally or signed or they are working. So we have to find out those local NGOs, civil society organizations, and we have to interact with the staff members or beneficiaries of that NGOs or social organizations. Then we have to conduct awareness programs, that health and hygiene camps, disability camps, and cleanliness camps. With the help of, if you have seen that this in UBSL, ICAF, NSS, and SAP is is also there with us, and we have to work together as a team, as an institution, rather than it's the task of the UBSL. We have to work together as a team. For this, I want to share with you that the Anandam course, because I have discussed with Natasha ma'am as the coordinator of Anandam's shell, and I'm thankful to Natasha ma'am that she's agreed upon that we can work for all the Anandam projects aligned with this UBA projects, that whatever villages have assigned to us, we have to go and we have to do our Anandam projects there in those villages. So at least suppose if we can do 40 to 50 projects successfully in those villages, I'm sure that we can change the whole scenario of those villages. And we, with all those that student body and your enthusiasm and your work, we can change the whole thought and idea of this UBSL with the help of Anandam projects. Then we have to do conduct social health test, also drinking water analysis. Multiple projects are there regarding the water conservation, regarding the rainwater harvesting, how the safe drinking water projects we can do, energy use and fuel efficiency surveys. We have to provide that. Then the solar energy aspect is also there, because Rajasthan is full of that solar energy. So how the solar energy projects that are already there, I have seen that in Nevta and other villages, but how then each and every household with minimal amount that solar energy projects also we can suggest them. Then we have to raise understanding of people's impact on climate change and building up communities that are disaster prepared, that they can manage that disaster also very well. So we can give them the knowledge and idea about disaster management also. And we can organize orientation programs for farmers regarding organic cultivation, regarding organic farming, organic agriculture, irrigation and fertilizer systems. In our college, we have seen that with the help of Father Java, that it's good green campuses there, and we can promote this greenery in nearby villages also. Now I want to share with you, this is the theoretical part that I have shared with you. Now I want to share with you the practical aspect. I think most of you have heard about this name of this village, Piplantri. And this one is considered as an eco-friendly village of Rajasthan, and this one is has won multiple awards also. So I want to share this video with you, and you can perceive that one person's initiative has altered the whole scenario of this village, and this is considered as the model village not only in India but the world platform also everywhere. The initiative, the thought of one person can change and alter multiple things. So I'm sharing this video. So you have seen that how this village has changed and altered the whole thought. That one girl child's birth, 111 trees. So this is that whole idea, that one idea we needed for every village, and come up with those kinds of ideas. Now, what is the objective of that Unnat Bharat Abhiyan? That broadly the twofold objective, that we have to build the institutional capacity in institutes of higher education in research and training. So this is not only the practical aspect, yes, through theoretical research also we have to find out the solutions. And we have to provide the rural India with that professional resource support that we can do. So the twin objective of village adoption is that we have to instituting social useful actions, and we have to sharpen the professional competence and development, and we have to facilitate and develop skills of the faculty members as well as the students that are involved in this exercise. Then need for village adoption. Why this one is that we have to adopt villages. So what is the use, what is the need for that? First, that it gives an opportunity to one's professional competence for the practical utility that is there, the practical promotion, practical aspect that we have to learn, not only the theoretical one. Then opportunity of service also, that as an academic person, the students are learning in a classroom the relevant and the contemporary texts, but that one is in some or the other way. The classroom teaching is a kind of that if they have not applied to that practical aspect, that is a kind of a boring activity. Then we have to prevent one from being lopsided or from being bookish and from being insensitive to local realities. We have to develop a kind of a self-appraisal for one's relevance to the changing rural realities. What is that PI? That as a participating institute, we are the participating institute in this UBA, and we have to work, and we have adopted 5 villages, and we have to start interacting with those villages, and we have to work in that field. So what is that UBSL of our college? The main responsibility of UBSL will be primarily to develop that linkage with selective rural clusters or areas or villages, and we have to find out the science and technology interventions that are required, and then those interventions we can suggest to SCGs, that is subject expert groups, and for that all that we need appropriate orientation and training and that creation of appropriate ethos within us. That institution is working towards that sustainable rural development. So this is the main aim or responsibility of our institute. So what are the responsibility of participating institute? I have already discussed that NSS, the SAB, the other groups that are there working for social commitment, clubs, each and every one of us as stakeholders, we have to work for this as PIs for this benefit of this college and for the community that is around us. For the household survey, UBA, that IIT Madras has created this survey app. I have checked this app also. This is working offline, on offline mode also. So we have to collect the data through this app. And if you can see, the first what we have to do, we have to collect the household survey. This is the form of this baseline household survey, and in this way we have to collect the data. If you can see, so we will share this, and this is through this we can work. Next is that what we have to do, we have to collect the village survey. So besides that household survey, individually for all 5 villages, we have to collect that village survey also. This is the village survey form that is provided to us, and we have to fill this individually for individual villages. Then the last task, as initially for the baseline survey, what we have to do, we have to prepare our monthly progress report also. And that monthly progress report, the format is given already, and we have to fill this form monthly, that what all activities or what all tasks we have done. So these 3 major activities initially we have to do. Now, how can we generate the funds? So through CSR funds, the corporate social responsibility of different companies, then through alumnus support. Yesterday, ma'am has discussed at length about these, then community support as well as central and government schemes. So through that we can generate funds. Now I want to share with you one more video. This one is a village of Meghalaya, Maolong, and this one is the cleanest village of Asia. So just have a look on this. This is the cleanest village of Asia. And this one is in Meghalaya. So you have seen that how that one person has changed that village of Rajasthan, and the collective effort has changed the village of Meghalaya. Now I want to share one last video to end my presentation, and then I will show you a few other important slides. First is that a person, Binish Desai, inventor of eco-friendly bricks, and how this idea strikes to him and how he has worked on that. This is a quick look on that. So you have seen that how Vineet Desai individually has started and thought of some new idea, and he had changed the you can say that the future of multiple persons and the female, especially the women that are there. He has spread that idea to multiple people and give that livelihood to multiple people. So why I have shared these videos with you, so that as a institute, as a person, individually also, we have to think of these kinds of innovative ideas. First, we have to understand the nuances of the villages that are there under UBSL, and we have to work for that. Now, a quick look, because I've seen that already the time is it's 45 minutes. So I'm quickly sharing 12 Indian villages that are there in some or the other way role model for us. So that is a quick look on those villages and how they have converted the whole thought of that the villages are not able to do anything, or the rural areas are not developed, but these villages, multiple villages are there, but I want to share only 12 with you, that yes, the nearby villages, we can alter them in a different manner. So the first village is the Dharnia village of Bihar, and this one is known as the first village that run completely on solar power. Then the second one is of Pahavir, Maharashtra, and here they have worked to conserve the environment through NGOs and give the sustainable livelihood to each one that is there in this village, who is living there in this village. Next is that Hiwara Bazaar of Maharashtra. This one is again the village that has 60 millionaires and the highest per capita income India village. And this one is a single water tank facility, and at different level they have changed after that drought affected parts of Maharashtra. Next is that Odandurai, Tamil Nadu. Maybe I have not pronounced it correctly. This one is a model village because in this, the Panchayat has not only been generating electricity, solar electricity, but selling to Tamil Nadu Electricity Board. So you can see the pole and the innovation that they have done. Next is that Jizami, that is of Nagaland village. This one is known. This one is again a world famous village because of that socio-economic and sustainable transformation done by the women, the marginalized women of this particular village by their traditional practices. Next is that Ganga Devapalli village of Andhra Pradesh, and this one is a village that is a self-sufficient village and continuously producing regular power and water supply to a scientific water filtration plants are there, and the all kind of modern facilities are there in this village. This is again Kokrevellur, Karnataka. This is again a village that offers an unusual sight, that this one is a village of very rare species of bird, and they are giving them all facilities and keeping in mind that these birds are there, they are developing the environment in that manner. So this one is a village, this village is a home for this species of birds. Then the Konoma, Nagaland, and this one is India's first green village, and the 700-year-old Agami settlement was there, terraced fields were there, but now the new innovation techniques they are adopting, and all hunting is bad in this village, and they also practice their own eco-friendly version of Jhum agriculture and which is the soap. So we have seen that all these villages are not from one state, they are from all over India and different states. So this Pansari Gujarat is also at World Platform, because this village is near to Ahmedabad, and could be, it's already there in the CBSE textbooks, because closed circuit cameras, water purifying plants, biogas plants, air conditioned school, Wi-Fi biometric machines, everything, whatever the innovative techniques we thought of, that is there in this village. And this one is also at World Platform, famous village. Then Ramchandrapura, Telangana. This is a village that pledged to donate their eyes for the visually challenged. This whole village has thought of this, and they have promised and taken pledge to do that. And this one is their main achievement. And one more is that all houses of this village have smokeless chulas and toilets with tap water facility. So they have taken different way to develop their village. Then this is that Karuvepalur, Kerala, and this one is again a first Gram Panchayat of Kerala to have free Wi-Fi for the general public, and it has been recognized as a model high-tech green village by the Horticulture Development Department, and known for green initiative. The last village and the last slide of my presentation is that Siddhamakka, Assam, and this is a plastic-free village that earned the maximum point in the cleanliness sub-index of Union Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation, and this is also earned and coveted open defecation-free status recently. So very small villages, and we have not heard the names of these villages, and you find that it's difficult to pronounce their, I find difficult to pronounce their names, exactly what is that, but they are those villages, and they are from different states, not from one state. I have started with that Piplanthri from Rajasthan. So we can change with the efforts of you all. That we work together as a team as St. Xavier's College. This is the reference that I have taken all these names of the villages. So thank you everyone. If you have any queries or questions, you are most welcome. I hope I have inspired you all to work together and thought of innovative techniques for these villages. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such an informative session. For the holistic growth of the society, it is required to develop all the units of system. And in the similar way, for the sustainable development of any country, every village should have all the necessities and better opportunities to make remarkable progress. If anybody have any query, the house is open for the question session.
Because as a college, Anandam projects are there, UBSL is there, SAP committee is there, ICUF is there, NSS is there. We have multiple social commitment clubs and committees are there. We have to work together and think over that how we can change and alter the whatever is around us, and how we can show that yes, St. Xavier's has something different that we can cater to the society. Whatever we have learned through bookish knowledge, how we can practically apply that.
If anybody have any
One
question.
student, Aditya, has handle, and then we will work together.
Ma'am, on the behalf of everyone, I want to ask some questions. Is there any provision for encouragement incentive for students interested in Unnat Bharat Abhiyan from our institute?
Yes, Sonali, I have already thought of that. I have already discussed with RCI Regional Institute also, even that National Coordinating Institute also, that we will provide them a certificate, not the monetary, because for the social commitment, if we are working and if we are thinking in the monetary terms, yes, we have discussed with all authorities also. They are ready to help us out for the transport facilities. We will provide that the students will reach there and they will work, but we will provide them the certificates, and that certificates will be helpful for them for their future careers, and with the logo of UBA also, that they are ready to give us that permission, and we will provide them the certificates. And other incentives we will discuss with the authorities if it's there. But Sonali, according to me, if we are working for something, for the social thing, our first thought is supposed to be work without any incentives. Yes, we will provide them incentives, of course, and for sure.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. May I now request Reverend Father Dr. Dr. Arokya Swami, SJ Manager, to kindly deliver the closing remark.
Thank you. A very good afternoon to everyone. For the Reverend Father Rex Angelo Principal, Father Raymond, the coordinating staff, Dr. Bula, and the resource person for today, Dr. Ranjit Kaur, and the organizing committee. I listened to the presentation very meticulously, very well presented, elaborated, and informative, and it is very, very enriching. And I'm sure the faculty members and the students, all those participated, would have got lots of input. And as Dr. Ranjit Kaur rightly said, as higher education institution here in this locality, in the name of St. Xavier's College, Jaipur, we need to make a difference in the lives of people around, in and around this campus. When I say in and around, there are so many villages. If you talk about this constituency, we have 31 panchayats, many villages. Even if you focus about 3 to 5 panchayats, that will come about 10, 15 villages. But that is up to us how much we can reach out. But the point is, what we learn academically in the institute, in the college, that has to be translated some way, practically, visibly to others. That is the crux of the message. If we gain knowledge, the knowledge has to be shared. And the knowledge is for happiness, that happiness has to be shared with others in the form of sharing with the people in whatever way we can give. And in the whole presentation, one thing also struck me very strongly, and I also, as a sociologist, social scientist, believe we have to target the right group in order to get the best out of them in the form of development. One of the target groups is women. Definitely, I strongly believe if you talk about health of a family, if a mother is healthy, the whole family is healthy. Similarly, if women are healthy in the village, the whole village is healthy. If the villages are healthy, the nation is healthy. Women's participation in development is very, very crucial. I'm not denying the men's participation, not important, but there is a reason for giving that, posing that argument. I strongly believe in Indian context, where patriarchy and caste hierarchy plays a very, very crucial role in hindering everyone to participate equally, particularly posing gender inequality and caste inequality. Women have to play an important role, and we can target that. In and through our intervention, we can target women, empower them, make them aware of the context, and bring them as our partners into the development process. Then the contribution will be very, very rich and clearly visible. Therefore, women as the center of the target group, and along with that, children in the form of education, youth in the form of skill and other knowledge empowerment programs. Therefore, I believe this is a challenge before us, at the same time opportunity, that we have ample opportunity to be part of these projects and programs at the level of panchayat level, state level, national level, so that we can pick and choose what way we can reach out open-heartedly. As some people pose question, of course, incentives, we'll get incentives in different way, but this main incentive is that we will feel a sense of fulfillment that I am doing something for others. That as we are creating also men and women for others, that we reach out in the form of service to others in order to help them to live a better life. I strongly believe, and it is possible. When we come together, we pool our resources in the form of knowledge and strength together, all the other resources, incentives will fall in line. We will be able to make a difference. As Madam rightly gave so many examples, so many villages in India, we can also make around our college also model villages in many, many respects. One concrete example is when we cut across Katwada, we see the polythene garbage both the sides. I will be happy to see within 6 months or 1 year that place starts shining. Is it possible? If everyone says yes, it's possible, definitely we can work towards that. Therefore, I wish everyone all the best, and I, as a manager and also faculty member, part of the faculty, wholeheartedly I give support. And as with social, I worked in many years in the social field with all my knowledge and expertise, and also that heart and mind for this sort of contribution to develop the nation. If all come together, definitely we make a difference. We can make a better world, better India to live. So thank you, all the best.
Thank you so much, Father. Now I request Reverend Father Arex Angelo SJ, Principal St. Xavier's College, Jaipur, to deliver to say some blessing words on this closing ceremony.
Reverend Father Dr. R.K. Swami, our rector and manager, Reverend Father Raymond, and the other Dr. Bula, the organizer, the coordinator, and Dr. Ranjit, the wonderful resource person of the day, and esteemed members of the staff. When we talked about the community engagement, what came to my mind is an example that happened in one of the cities in the south. there was a group of scavengers, manual scavengers, about which the government was very much concerned. And then through a project, they established a colony of well-built houses. Each house had 3 stories. So, and then by lot, the houses were allotted. After the allotment, only they discovered the failed attempt of the government, because every manual scavenger had his own group of pigs and piglings. And then, as usual, in a well thought out government program, each house had an attached bathroom. After a month of inauguration of that colony, government officials went to see how the buildings were maintained by the nomadic scavengers. To their shock and horror, they found out the pigs and piglings were kept in the house toilets, because that's a very convenient place for them. And then people were more accustomed to go for outdoor shooting to answer nature's call. Then they realized that they have not consulted the community themselves. They have not involved the community in decision making. People who are accustomed, they are not accustomed to toilets, because they know that toilet should be away from the house, because that's how they have been working. So this gives an example how even if there's a good project, if the community is not involved, all projects will collapse. I was also listening off and on with some visitors here to the inputs of Dr. Ranjit Kaur. And then I am happy that very meticulously Madam has prepared and a lot of insights were given. As Father Arup rightly pointed out, every educational institution should act as the conscience of the nation. To begin with, our presence as a St. Xavier's College, Jaipur, in the village of Nevada should have some bearing on the lifestyle, on the development of the surroundings in which we live. I am sure with such inputs, especially for the last 1 week, our staff, the students and the alumni should get motivated to do something within our limits so that our neighborhood gets the benefit of our efforts. I also want to thank all the resource persons who have come from far and wide, including government officials. They were very clear about what they wanted to deliver. They want our staff to get involved in this. Luckily, we have an extension program through which we can think of a lot of programs. Also, we have very vibrant student community. From last year onwards, we are involving them in not only in cultural programs, but also in this type of socially enriching programs. In fact, we go to the village not to teach, but to learn. So I want to congratulate Dr. Bula Chaudhary for having meticulously organized this program for a week. You have chosen at the correct moment before the classes would start, so that all our professors were available. And I found at least 50 of them, so I expected more. 50 of them are present now. Now the takeaway of such a week-long effort should be a change in our behavior, a change in our attitude, and finally a change in our character. Once again, congratulations. I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Father. I would like to invite Coordinator SAP, Dr. Bula Chaudhary ma'am, to deliver vote of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Father. Thank you, Sonali. No duty is more urgent than that of returning thanks, and the essence of all beautiful art is gratitude. I deem it a great privilege to propose a vote of thanks on the occasion of closing ceremony of the 7-day workshop on Swachhata Action Plan. First and foremost, I would like to thank the Almighty God for bestowing upon us His graceful blessings today and always. I wish to extend my deep gratitude towards the management, St. Xavier's College, Jaipur, Reverend Father Dr. Arokya Swami S.J., Manager, Reverend Father Dr. A. Rex Angelo S.J., Principal, Reverend Father Dr. Raymond Carabin S.J., Vice Principal and Administrator, for their continuous support, guidance, and encouragement. Fathers, your commitment and vision motivate us to do better each day. Thank you very much for all your inspiration in helping us strive towards perfection. I express my heartfelt thanks to all the resource persons of the 7 days for their extremely informative deliberations. I'm extremely grateful to Swachh Bharat Mission Gramin, Department of Rural Development and Panchayati Raj, Government of Rajasthan, for holding hands with us in the noble cause of Swachhata Mission through their collaboration in form of funding for training and outreach activities in the villages, as well as for student camps and projects related to Swachhata Mission. I'm also thankful to Department of Drinking Water and Sanitation, Jal Shakti Mission, Government of India, for their collaboration. I cannot end my vote of thanks without acknowledging the help of the members of SAP committee, Dr. Renu Jadon, Dr. Gurneet Kaur, Dr. Mahua Bose, Dr. Neelu Sharma, Ms. Isha Mani, Ms. Pushpanjali Saini, Ms. Sonali Thakur for their immense support in organizing the workshop, and Dr. Shruti Rawal for taking initiatives and responsibilities on her own as and when the need arose. Without you all, this wouldn't have been possible. Thank you so much. I'm extremely thankful to the Media Committee, Photography Club, technical team, and non-teaching staff for their coordination. Last but not the least, I thank you all for your cooperation in turning this workshop into a successful event with your participation. We look forward for your cooperation in future as well. Once again, I deeply thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. The feedback form and the exit test link are posted in chat box. Kindly check and fill it. My humble request to all the participants to turn on their cameras for the group photograph. Thank you, everyone. Today we come to the conclusion of the workshop, but it is not the end. It is the beginning toward our first step to make our learnings applicable for some positive changes in nature. So let us pledge to contribute toward beginning a change, a positive change in and around us.